Welcome to another episode of the Top Corner Podcast. Yay!
Hit him with it.
Alright. Today is 10/7/2024 and we got some good news for you. Andre Iniesta finally retired.
It'll eventually stop being funny when you do the star date thing, but it's still funny today. Anyway, Iniesta, yeah.
Yeah, a legend, man. He finally retired. I know a lot of people might be like, oh, man, it feels like he retired a long time ago.
Right.
Man. Yeah, because he was playing in Japan and now I think he probably in UAE.
Yeah.
Those are you guys that are intelligent. UAE stands for United Arab Emirates.
There you go.
Gotta be good
Crushed
at
it. Yeah, I mean, basically just another version of the Saudi League.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I mean, kind of, but, you know. Anyway.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and I mean, to me, that's the sign of the guys that are great at the game and love the game are the ones that, like, and don't get me wrong, Toni Kroos retiring at, 32?
Yeah.
At Real Madrid, having just won a Champions League, like, that's awesome. I do love that. However, I like these guys as well, that, like, they retire in their late 30s, early 40s. Yeah. They've been out of, the huge European sides for maybe almost 7 or 8 years, but they've been playing because they love the sport and they're still good at it and they can still play at a certain level. It's like, just seeing them kind of putting the ball around in Japan is kind of funny.
Yeah, if you don't remember anything about Andres Iniesta, I know the voice speech went high. 2 things. I mean, he won a lot of things, but 2 things to remember about him, or 2 for me at least, 2 images that come to my head is Netherlands, Spain, 2010. Iniesta scores the last goal, man. And I'm talking about, it was a volley. And Spain wins it. And in 2009, he did the same thing against Chelsea to win the Champions League. Yeah. It's like, and in 2010, there was a lot of polemic that he should have won the Ballon d'Or, although Messi won it. But because of his season and the fact that he won the World Cup, people thought he would have won it.
It's a good case
that's
for
how
it, yeah.
great Iniesta was.
Yeah.
So if you don't know about this dude,
then you're an idiot. I'm kidding. Yeah. I'm not going to insult your intelligence.
Yeah, another thing, Mbappe. It's a lot of news around Mbappe, man. It's anytime he does something, there's gonna be talking about him,
good or bad or mediocre.
Yeah, it
that's
doesn't
the thing.
even matter.
Even when nothing's really happening, in either a good way or a bad way, he's just always in the headlines because they know what's gonna sell and what's not. And it's like that's annoying. But
because like for this one, I don't even think it was worthy of being in the news. But we all know the media and whatnot, So apparently, Mbappe was injured against Madrid against Alaves, and he, for some reason, wanted to take some time off. Not for some reason, because he was injured, and the club also, they want him to take some time off. This investment for them.
Yeah.
But apparently he played like 60 or 70 minutes this weekend, and he's not gonna play for the internationals. And they were like, the French were like, well, you are French, you are not Spanish. And all this noise around him being not faithful or like a patriot, not coming to play for France. Either you're injured or you're not, because we saw you playing 60 or 70 minutes. And now you're saying you're not coming because you want to make sure you don't get injured or trying to recover. So that's the whole
all you have to do is say, if you're Mbappe, you're like, well, we have the best squad in the world. So someone's gonna take my, it's like the French national team of all international sides should be the ones complaining the least. It's like, yes, it's Kylian Mbappe. Yes, it's an important player. Yes, it's a big one to miss. But at the end of the day, I mean, you guys have the richest squad, and by rich I mean like full of talent.
Yeah.
An amount of people. It's like, it's not just the amount of talent. It's how many people are on this roster that have considerable talent. Like, for this one endeavor, you're saying that Barcola or Colomawani can't step in. It's like, for this one, I don't know.
I think
I understand though of like wanting your national players to play.
Yeah,
I understand this. That's the one side where I'm like, you guys have a wealth of people right now. It's like I don't know if this should be in the news. I'm with you on that one. It's gonna be at a point where there's nothing to report on him, and they're just gonna report like random shit like Kylian Mbappe's favorite McDonald's order, and they're like double cheeseburgers, plain. Are you kidding me?
I think sometimes the news get bored and they like to spark all this polemics or to get people talking, just because he's a big player, he's a big name, so anything around him brings out all the people out of their caves.
Yep.
To start talking crap. I don't even think it's worth it. And if he wants to take time off, and actually the club DJ Deschamps and Madrid and Mbappe, they actually spoke, and the conclusion was that he should take some time off to recover, because at the end of the day, after I play that international game, if I get injured when I'm not 100%, guess what? The person paying my salary is not going to be happy. And another thing is, that's one day in the international. I'm not saying that I don't like when your pet hurt, but you have to think about the long run. There's so many plenty.
Well, if the injury's bad enough, not only am I missing out on my club, but you're missing out on me next round of internationals as well.
Yeah, so
like, it can be that bad. Rodri's not going to do anything for Spain.
Yeah.
So it's like, if they were bitching about him playing, but like, no, I mean, and you're right. People click the Mbappe stuff. They post Mbappe stuff because they know that it's going to do better numbers.
Yeah.
We're not even excluded from that. I mean, I know for a fact that whatever we put out that has Mbappe's name in the title, those shorts just do better.
Yeah.
So this will probably be a short, even though it's not an important piece of news. It'll just be a short, and that's just what you got to deal with.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. What news you got? There's another news because my computer just froze.
I got you right here. So you had something about Paul Pogba, but we'll get to that in a second because we'll let your computer boot up for that. Zubamendi is possibly going to replace Rodri at Man City in January because he's out for a good while. I don't want to say replace because I mean,
it's hard, man.
But some coverage. I mean, they're going to need something in January, but $60 million for Zubamendi in January, that's not a bad price at all, considering that he has been playing very well for Sociedad. So, same sort of silkier Spanish style as well. Yeah. So
he can adapt. Pep Guardiola love those kind of players.
Yeah, so that's a big one and a pretty modest price tag for that. You'd think that Sociedad would expect a little bit more for that, or demand a little bit more for that.
Yeah.
Jonathan David, the Lille Canadian striker.
Yeah.
He is not renewing his contract with Lille. Ooh. In the summer. He has sort of declared that already. I know for a fact that it was a couple of weeks ago. I guess he waited for a little bit to see what was going on, but it was rumored that he was unhappy, or not unhappy, but ready to move on. Mm-hmm. And clubs were kind of knocking, and he got a pretty big response. I mean, I know for a fact that Chelsea, Arsenal, I think Juventus were curious.
Yeah.
I think Inter Milan were curious. He's got a very wide net that he can cast, and he's got a lot of Premier League interest. Not that that's the be-all, end-all of places to be, but hearing that those bigger Premier clubs are interested in you, and I think he's 24, 23, 24, so he's ready for that big deal, and it looks like he's kind of deserved it. He's played well. He's fast as hell, and so good for him.
That makes sense. Give me
this Pogba bullshit. What's going on?
For Paul Pogba,
aside from the fact that the dream's over.
Well, his sentence got reduced from 4 years to 18 months, first of all. And on the flip side, Juventus is happy to release him so he can be a free agent. I don't think I think they're happy because they don't want to pay whatever, right?
What were they paying him salary-wise?
I don't know, but I think it was expensive a little bit. So
and even he probably knew that it was a little too much for what he offers at this point. That's not even a knock. Yeah. It's just like, you got to be able to look at yourself and be able to say that too, I think.
Yeah, that's true. But at least you got to pay me whatever we agreed on.
Oh, yeah.
No. You don't get to go to the dealership and buy a car, and after the car don't work for you, be like, I'm not paying all the money. Yeah. Give me my money.
But even the dealership can, in theory, look at themselves and go, that car's not worth that fucking money. I'm no fool.
But at least, I don't know where he will be playing exactly, but but he can start training by January. I don't know, if he will be coming to the MLS. I think
I heard that
LA something.
Probably LAFC.
I heard that as a rumor, so I'm not sure.
That's
but
the issue.
I see that as a big thing.
That's the issue with the MLS right now, is that they're sort of developing. Well, some people say it as an issue. Some people see it as, but they're starting to work on dynasties a little bit more with these big deals. It looks like the Western one has been LAFC. That's where a lot of the bigger signings have gone exclusively. Whereas in the 2000s and early 2010s, it was the LA Galaxy that was getting all of the big guys. But it looks like Inter Miami and LAFC are the ones that are basically top bidders for these big European names coming over, which means, that defeating them means more in regular season and in playoffs.
Yeah.
And, even though it makes their championships maybe mean a little bit less, their consistency would mean a little bit more. So it's slowly developing, I think it could be, into the Premier League, into La Liga, where these clubs, like everything else on the table might be a scramble.
Yeah.
But those guys are expected to win
and
win silverware, and defeating them it means more. Because right now, it doesn't mean that much.
No. But one thing though, the way MLS is going about it now in this present day, I kind of like it, in the sense that although they will say, "Oh, we're getting all these old players," but you think about it, these players have more viewership than the whole championship itself.
Yeah.
So they come in with all. Paul Pogba might not be playing, but I'll tell you what, if you go on all his social platform, he got a lot of views. So he's coming in with that and with people that like soccer, or football. So guess what?
Yeah.
I come and say, hey, I kind of like this MLS. I might just stay. And also it gets you in the eyes of the Premier League, the La Liga, in the sense that Nashville soccer might have this one good player that's young, and
which they do, well. And he's not playing that. Like they're not playing well right now. They're playing very poorly at the moment.
And guess what? Sociedad or Brighton or even Barcelona is like, we kind of like that player. We should get him. Kind of like the Davis type deal, but now it's a little bit more out there. Like this kid from, I think he's LA Galaxy, Puig, he plays so well. Yeah. He plays so well that when you go into the comment, they're like, yeah, he's not MLS, my team.
He's not
no
staying.
More.
Yeah,
like,
he's going somewhere else.
He's going somewhere. So that's the thing.
It makes me really wish, though, that like if we had some sort of connections with sports media, one of the first things that I would want to ask, I would want to ask MLS fans, do you like how shapeless, and I mean that, I guess, in a good way, because no other real top popular leagues are really like that, where anybody can really beat anybody. Every year there's kind of a new champion. People that were at the top of the table are at the bottom of the table the next season. And it's like, do you like that? Or do you like when some teams never win, like Premier League, like Southampton's not getting far up the table this year. Like we know that they'll probably get relegated again, and like certain clubs are expected to be top four. You're expected to go this far in these competitions. Like, does that work better for you? Because some people in the States think that's boring. That if it's just the same couple of teams every single year, but it's like, no, that to me, that gives them more status, and it makes it mean more when they lose. But whereas, LA Galaxy sucked this year, but they were really good 5 years ago, and then 10 years ago. But like beating the LA Galaxy doesn't mean that much anymore. Or like,
yeah, so that's another thing. Yeah, you're right on that. I don't like the idea of having this past history as a turning point for your team, and believing that because we are the guys, or we have all this history beating us at the present moment when I'm not performing well, still means something. That's kind of why I like relegation system, because you also get the thrill of the underdog just coming in and winning freaking everything, like Leicester, right? That's what motivates me. Another thing is that, hey, if you're gonna lose viewership, you're gonna lose TV deals, you're gonna lose everything by going to freaking League 2, Liga 2, Liga whatever, and you're like, I gotta pull my weight up. Now you are pressure to bring in the heat every single time. So that's kind of what I like. And
we have enough. We have a smaller tier system, but we have the ability to have a tier system.
I think so too. The only issue I might see probably is traveling, because America is so far apart in the sense.
Well, and we don't have a straight table. We have conferences, and that makes it a pain in the ass. Yeah. Like if two teams in the West were way worse than one in the East, but you have to relegate one in the West and East to make the travel schedule easier for the conferences, then all of a sudden this team got propped up when it didn't deserve it, and it gets to stay, and it gets the rub on that one. But
that's true.
Yeah, it's just it bothers me seeing like 10 matchups a weekend on the MLS, and just like but nothing standing out.
But we can do this way, right? We can have a cup in the MLS and have a championship, just two tournament in a sense, right? In the championship, we merge all the teams as one. Now we really don't have to worry about traveling as much, because if you have 7 days and you play on Sunday, you freaking travel on Friday you get there Saturday and you can sleep. So it just depends. I think merging even will be really good because you have 18 or 16-18 or whatever. If you put all of them together, you have 30. Then you can create a league too. So in a sense, you're creating more competition. Yeah. So no, but that's just my cup of tea.
Yeah.
Don't take it too serious, people.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about this. We already talked about Jonathan David.
Yeah. We got the two matchups. We got the Arsenal-Southampton match. What do you think about that?
Arsenal. Do you think Arsenal have a chance this year? I always ask the question because sometimes they look like they have a serious chance. I just don't know how the next 5 games, or no, the last 5 games will be for them. And we got to pass also winter, which is December. That's really when they kind of struggle sometimes. At least last year, that's where they gave up a lot of free points because everything is not guaranteed at the last days are where those are days where teams that didn't do good, man, you will see freaking Crystal Palace beating City on those days because they struggle. That's why I like the championship system.
They dropped points to Arsenal dropped points to Southampton last year late in the season, and it's a cost them. So and they've got kind of an interesting schedule. So in May they do have Liverpool and Newcastle back to back, very late in the season, and then in March they have United and Chelsea as their only 2 Premier League matchups. In that month, they've got a pretty tough little run in like late October, early November with Liverpool, Newcastle, then Inter Milan in the Champions League, then Chelsea back to back. So there are ways that like these bigger sides can force them to drop points. However, I think it's pretty clear so far that City's quality has dropped somewhat, and Arsenal have been more consistent. I do think that there's still a legitimate run.
No, I do.
But I do think that it's more of a 3-horse race than people give credit for. I do think that Liverpool are more in that based on their performances so far.
Yeah, it's crazy because Liverpool is so consistent because the idea of them not being in form or shape or whatever you want to call it this year because they changed coaches. Yeah,
while being at the top of the table, they're like, they're just not in it. Like, what?
I was reading an article. They were saying that it's because of Sloth, how he treats the group and everyone is happy. That's why they play like that. Because if you think
that's what Klopp did as well.
Same thing, You just got, and that's what United is not understanding.
It's very different play styles and very different, obviously different tactics with Slot and Klopp. But he understood that the most important thing was not necessarily the tactics, was not necessarily the roster, the quality on the pitch. It's how do I get these guys to love me and just do what I need them to. And then have them buy into everything. But he's done exactly what Klopp did in terms of getting these guys on your side, and having them maybe do things that they don't normally do, but they're all in it. So then the quality of their natural talent allows them to rise and become more confident in doing those things.
And I do think that next year we will actually see Liverpool's or Sloth Liverpool's implementations of Sloth's tactics, because I think the way he's going about it is getting to his own way of playing or style of playing, slowly, instead of trying to just push it on everyone.
The crazy psycho mega press and everything.
You can't do that. So when I looked at United, I looked at Arsenal, Southampton. It's weird because you watch. Have you ever watched those animes where this guy is obviously good, but once you beat him, then he becomes angry and beat you up. It's kind of the same thing as Southampton, Arsenal. At least that what I felt, because it was nil. The game was a little, stale at some point where Southampton were playing low block, and so Arsenal still have a little problem with low block playing teams. And so until Southampton scored, then Arsenal's all right. Then
wait a minute, you mother.
We're not letting this slide.
And it would not have been 0-0 at halftime. I think if Martin Odegaard was there distributing the ball, because that's the thing that's missing, because they were still getting chances on target, but they still have that problem with finishing.
You know what I think then.
But it's just a little slower, it's a little less creative, it's a little less threaded through, less triangles on the outside of the box.
Yeah.
Just, it's a little more straightforward, because they don't have that extremely creative player on the ball with excellent dribbling that can send it out in places that you don't expect him to.
You can do without Odegaard's presence when Arsenal is playing teams that wants to win. And when I say wants to win, is they're not playing low block, they're not playing back in the box. There's so much space because they're also trying to go forward.
Yep.
Then you really don't feel it.
But you need someone to be able to unlock it when everyone just says, nope, you're not getting anything.
That's the problem. Yeah. So with City and other teams, you don't really feel it.
Yep.
But when they meet these low block teams that just pack the bus or just play in the low block, then you're like, damn.
Teams that will gladly take 1 point away from home or even at home. Like Ipswich will want 1 point at home against that kind of club. They have no problem sitting back.
That's definitely what you need. Yeah. You miss Odegaard's creativity and those sneaky passes or flare passes. But when I watched the game, Saka is incredible, man.
He's really good, yeah.
You can't tell me Arsenal can do without Saka at this point in time.
I still think that Odegaard is the more important player.
You think so?
I still think so.
Yeah.
And I think that the style of play reflects that, because Saka's still going to be able to do these things from the outside.
Yeah.
He finished with 2 assists and a goal in the day.
Yeah.
But you can see in the build-up and in every other facet of the game, not just when they're down in the opponent's box and Saka's either cutting inside or leaving out for a pass through a channel. But I do think that Odegaard is still more important in terms of how the build-up goes and how the dictation of pace goes during the game.
This is what I think of Saka.
But it's obviously the 2 best players.
This is what I think of Saka as a right wing. I think Saka has mastered the basic. He's not your how'd you call him? The guy at City, the left wing at City that always replaces is it Kudus? No. Jeremy Doku is on the he's on the left wing. But that's what I'm saying. He's not your fancy kind of left wing. He's not the fanciest winger.
Yeah,
but he understands the basics of a winger good.
Exactly. That when he's really good at dribbling on the ball, it's more simple techniques. It's like
that's what I'm saying.
They're more effective. Like he's definitely not like slow or static on the ball. It's just everything that he does means something.
Yeah.
And to me, that makes it harder to figure out exactly what to do with him, because it's like he's not going to cut all over the place. So you just lock him down. It's like he's going to cut once or twice, and it's going to be lethal each time.
He's always triple team. Yeah. Put that in mind. And every time, it doesn't matter. He always unlocks. It's like you can always count on him. Like when I say master the basics, it's like he understands. If I'm a winger, I'm locked. What should I do? Should I cut on the inside, or can I do this passes or just traded through passes or these crosses or what? Like it's so basic and simple, but yet so difficult, and it makes it difficult for the people trying to defend. So that's what I think. Now another thing is like Kai Havertz. Arsenal cannot do with a Kai Havertz. I have 3 players. I know for the Arsenal fan, I don't care what you guys think. At this point, you have Saka, Odegaard, Kai Havertz, and Kai Havertz on the attack is the only guy you guys cannot play without in the attack, because if you realize when Kai Havertz plays a little bit forward, things are different.
Yeah,
he makes a lot of runs that a lot of these guys will not make. The only other players that I can think of is Martinelli. I think if they transform
he is improving. He had a slow start to the season, but the last 2 weeks or so he has improved quite a bit.
I think transforming him to a pure striker will actually unlock his potential.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
I think that Kai Havertz is deceptively physical now as well, because he's a bigger guy. He's like 6'3", and
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, no, he's really, really tall, and he's been using that more with Arteta than he did at Chelsea. He looked very feckless at Chelsea in terms of like the physical. He was quick to fall down. He was not using any bit of his strength to sort of muscle you off the ball in any way. Yeah. But now he's kind of a little shit disturber. Yeah. And he'll get in your way. He's always on like trampling somebody. But that leaping header into Ramsdale, like that was nice. Like that was he's shown that he can be physical. No, sorry, that was against PSG. That swinging header with Donnarumma not coming out and punching the ball away with as much fervor as he is used to having. Like all of a sudden this tall guy is physical and he's going up for the header where that goalkeeper could clock his lights out and really not get a card for it at all, because like, am I not supposed to punch the ball away? I just punched his head on accident. My bad. But he's shown that he's more brave.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I would say that he is becoming an indispensable player. He is definitely an essential. I don't think he's top 3 within the squad, like you said.
Who will you put before him?
I think you still have to have Saliba in the top 3 of most essential players to ensure that you're able to continue this style. So because part of the reason that you're able to sit there and tee off on these guys with those creative through balls is because you have a great duo in the back holding it down.
Okay, if that's the case, in your attack, even if you can miss Odegaard, but you cannot miss Kai Havertz, and I will tell you what.
At this point, because he's scoring the goals.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So there's not a game that Havertz is not scoring, and actually, there's not a game that when Havertz is playing forward, things are not unlocked for Arsenal.
Yeah,
the reason is because of the way he makes the runs.
Yeah.
Back of the defense. And when you put even Gabriel Jesus, that's supposed to be a striker, don't make those runs. That's the craziest thing about it.
Yeah.
And the one default about Havertz that I think that is a little bit holding him down is, I don't think it's in his control. Essentially, I think it's because he's not a pure striker and he's not a pure midfielder.
Yeah.
So he's just kind of sort of in between. That's probably why Arteta kind of likes him now, because if you see watch the first half when he was in the midfield, it wasn't really good in the midfield in a sense. But once he started going forward, all right then, it's good.
Yeah. Well, and that's what he did at Leverkusen as well. When he was there, he was never a number 9 or your most forward.
Yeah.
But he was definitely most certainly not in the midfield. But it seems like his quality has improved under Arsenal. Instead of being that attacking midfielder that's in charge of the build-up, he is just a bit more the finished product and is allowed to kind of explore. And it's not so much that he's in your top line because of his finishing ability, but like you said, he gets to kind of roam and pick these places out, and he's unlocking things whether or not he's directly involved with the build-up or not, because he is so big and because he is so physical now. You have to sort of honor that and go with him at all times, and that leaves Jesus open for more options as well. But Jesus hasn't quite been doing what he needs to be doing.
He's not in good form. Another guy is Calafiori. Calafiori is good on the ball and really, I won't say bad, but his defensive awareness without the ball shows. And it really shows when, you can do with teams that play low block. He's not really exposed because teams that play low block don't really overlap. But you can see whenever there's overlapping, they can overlap on his side because he always tends to go commit so high that it's freaking open in the back.
Yeah, that's true. And I don't think that it's so much for lack of physicality. It's not that he's getting burnt because he's not that quick, Zinchenko. Even though Zinchenko has bad positioning, he's not that physical on the ball anyway, or in defense. Calafiori is a bigger guy. He does have he has the ability to take you off the ball. He is just a bit more offensive minded, and he is exposed a little bit in that time. I don't think that he is a starting fullback.
You don't think so?
I think when everyone
he won't start in front of Ben White, that's for sure.
That's what I was saying. I think that if you have a starting 2, I think that you start with Ben White on the right, and then Timber on the left. Mm-hmm. But because of right now, they both have minor injuries. Calafiori is the number 1 for the left. But I don't know if he was designed to immediately be slotted in the number 1 position in the squad. I think he was there for rotation. Mm-hmm. And Jakub Kiwior is there, and he's actually been pretty decent as a reserve, coming in and just cleaning up and making sure that everything stays safe. But I think that the design all along was for White and Timber to be the number 1s. And I think that Arteta probably had an idea of the shortcomings defensively with Calafiori, and he does play a different style. But once he gets to march up into the midfield and explore space, Calafiori is very impressive on the ball.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Aston Villa versus United, that was crazy because I watched the whole staff, the whole money makers. I'm talking the money guys. Yeah. They were in the stadium. The CEO, the VP, the president. They were like, man, if he tries one of this BS again, we're firing him on the spot. Yeah. What will cause us United to fire this guy? I feel like he has some juju or something over this guy. It's like it don't matter
every
what
week.
He's doing.
But the thing is now, like, if you have a rival club that you support within the league, you don't want them to fire him. You're like, just like he deserves to stay. Give him a chance. Come on, let him. Come on, man, let him hold on.
Tuchel tried that stuff just a couple of games. He was out.
Yeah. Well,
And I remember
that's Chelsea though, and Chelsea are much more cutthroat in terms of being like mercenaries and detached from managers. So
well, when who was that? Moyes. Is it David Moyes who tried?
Yeah.
He got fired too.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not saying that they don't have that in them, but Chelsea is like cut and dry.
Yeah.
Like you don't fuck around with it.
And
But
you
Tuchel's
fired
also
Mourinho.
rumored to replace Tuchel, by the way.
That's what I heard too.
Yeah.
And Mourinho tried. He got fired. And at least Mourinho, his first season was better. You fired him, I think, his second season.
And it's Mourinho. You should
Mourinho.
honor that and give him a little more time.
And this dude, man. And you know what I'm starting to think? I think Erik ten Hag was a fluke, man. I think he was a fluke with Ajax, because he had that 2018 run, and we were like, this guy is good doing that with a small club. But I think he's a fluke.
Well, he had 7 of his own signings on the bench starting this lineup. Did you see that? Yeah. 7 of the people that he's brought in over his time there were not even starting because they're not in form.
He's too attached to the back in the days, man. Just let it go. Build your own squad with this new group of people, man. Don't try to recall the old AS and try to be on some type of Avengers.
Maguire and Evans starting is bold. I'll say that. Yeah. I don't know about that, but I mean, and Fernandez didn't get a red card.
Did the light start?
It was a big day.
The lights, yeah, he didn't get a red card.
No red cards, not even a yellow.
That's crazy.
He's on his best behavior.
Yeah.
You have to be at that point. Good God.
Bro, and Rashford though, Rashford is. I seem to kind of figure out Rashford right now, but he's in a good space because I see him laughing. I see him doing what I see him playing. I just think the whole team is just in shambles to the point where they don't click together.
Yeah,
they're
like, I'm either gonna laugh and enjoy myself, or I'm gonna go fucking insane. So all of a sudden now Rashford's just having. I mean, at a certain point, let your hair down and just kind of accept the fact that you will be here after this manager's gone. Yeah. The manager will be the first one out of the door from everybody in this club. Yeah. Just sit down, hold tight, have fun. Don't be a detriment to us because we still matter because we're your teammates. But at the end of the day, have some fun.
Yeah, I think that's
please enjoy something.
Another thing, and this might be just my own opinion, but Rashford will be difficult to fire to let go too because he's a product of United.
Yeah,
a pure product of United. Meno played well, but like I said, the team is not clicking. Some people they want to play, but they realize that, man, I do this, do that. What's that guy doing?
Yeah,
it's like, man, we just gonna wait until we get a new manager or something.
Yeah, Xerxes has been a little bit of a shortcoming there, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's having real trouble figuring out the end product there.
But
again, it's kind of like Chelsea last season though, where it's like none of these guys are playing to their top level. So like singling out one guy,
that's what I'm saying.
Is not quite right. I agree with that.
Yeah, it's so difficult to really, understand what's the issue when the whole team is not even doing well. In teams like Madrid or even Brighton or whatever, you can say it's the midfield. Like City is the midfield because order is missing. You pick Arsenal, if they're not playing well, you'll be like, where are the opponent passing by? Oh, is it the left side? So that's the guy. But in this whole thing where nobody is really playing well, it's like, who is even to blame, man?
And again, it's like you don't want to single out guys like I just said, but I mean this squad's a little bit different. You're right that everybody's playing poorly. But I'll tell you straight up, what is not the answer is probably Maguire and Evans combo.
Oh yeah,
like so. Like,
put those two together.
There are still certain things like that where, for some reason, Ten Hag is making these decisions, and it's like, look, like no, not one person is the issue, but I'll tell you what, those two together is probably not a good way to do this.
That's a recipe for disaster.
You have to think that even an out of form Matthias de Ligt needs to start over Johnny Evans.
Bro,
you have to think so. I don't know what's wrong with Mazraoui. He was not even in the lineup at all. So sorry. He's you could even slot Mazraoui in from the right wing into the center, and it'd be a better coverage than Johnny Evans. And they just re-signed him last year. I don't understand what's going on. But Victor Lindelof, Matthias de Ligt, Harry Maguire, Mazraoui, Lissandro Martinez. They're all able to start over Johnny Evans, whether they're in form or not, I think. And so I don't understand where that's coming from there.
Hey, the one team that we're not talking enough about is Chelsea. I don't know if but they seem to have some sense of consistency.
They've really firmed up what their squad looks like too, which is they've been very consistent with who they're fielding.
It's like they just sneakily getting there, but they haven't passed a real test for me because I'm waiting on when they play Liverpool. I will really see what's going on. I think they're playing Liverpool on 2010 or 10-20, however you want to. However you want to.
And then El Clasico is the week after that, isn't it? It's like the 26th or something.
Madrid, Barcelona.
Yeah. So there could be some big matchups across Europe toward the end of the month after this international break. But no, but with Chelsea, no, I mean they are playing well, and it looks
Clasico,
like
who you got? I think I got Barcelona. I'm a Madrid fan, but I got Barcelona.
I think right now, I think right now
they're playing. Yeah. I don't think it's gonna cut it because those young guys are playing.
They're and when they're not in electric form, they're at least working very hard.
Yes.
And Camavinga and Tchouameni in the middle of the park have not been too convincing with dictating the pace.
Yes.
And Modric, when he comes in, looks good, but you can just tell that physically he doesn't have the ability to take the game by himself and make things happen.
I don't think he can do a Clasico, but it's pretty interesting that he can still keep up at that level because last game, actually, Modric did the whole work by himself.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because one thing about Barcelona, they're all young. They're not playing as, it doesn't feel as like a job for other people. It feels more like people in the park. Just enjoying themselves. Well, and that's more dangerous.
And it feels like a community. It feels like everybody's willing to do some thankless tasks for each other. It's not so much about I am so and so and I do this. They're all like, whatever gets this thing done, we're all doing it.
I think that's Madrid's problem in a sense too. I think that's one of their issues too, because when I see Vinicius playing with Mbappe in this game, there was some sense of it could click. They had some 1-2 touches, but Mbappe is still not getting the feed in a sense when he's open.
Yeah.
But as soon as Mbappe is out, where Vinicius feel like there's nobody in that front line that could be a threat, this guy will score. Did you see that goal? You probably didn't see it.
I didn't get to see that one.
Yeah, that goal was amazing, man. Just he had the ball and fired it up. As soon as Mbappe went out, I get to be the guy now.
I told you that their partnership was going to cause some issues, but I think that a lot of these young guys with Barcelona, I think that coming up through the system makes a big difference too.
Yeah, that's true.
Balde has been there since he was very young. Pedri is still very young, and he's there. Gavi's the same way. Yamal. It's just like when they're all that young and they've all been up through that system, and they're with guys even when they're a little bit older than them. At the end of the day, Pedri's still like 21. So
crazy though.
So you have someone as young as Lamal and Balde. It's just it's a community. It feels like it's your classmates. You all get along very well already.
I'm feeling Barcelona vibes of 2006, 7, 8 from these guys.
Yeah,
where they've been taught from a young age. If you are a 6, you playing the game for your teammate. If you're 8, you playing. If you're 10, if this is how you play the game. So for Madrid, which is an assembled team, I still think strongly that they will click because of their coach, and he's still trying to figure it out. But like this game, I saw Vinicius started sending balls. The only thing that he does now, he just doesn't send it when it matters sometimes, or sometimes the timing is off because he hesitates so much that I think sometimes he wants to take the shot. Yeah. And by the time he sends the ball, the action has passed. Rodrigo actually... Right now, I don't think they can do without Rodrigo
and Valverde.
Are
your most consistent?
Yeah, I don't think they can do. But if this season passes too, I feel like even Rodrigo can get a big contract somewhere.
Yeah. Because one thing that I think that's really working with Barcelona though really fast is the fact that their striker. Lewandowski's in good form.
Yeah, that's true.
But he's also him being there fits their model perfectly because he's not a young superstar in his prime. Yeah. He's not at the age where he's able to go. It's about me. It's like I'm still great. Yeah, it's like it's Papa Lewandowski up top that like we want to give it to him because he's good, not because we're dictated to because he's the superstar. It's
that's
like true. He's past the age of feeling that, so he's got nothing but talent.
Yeah,
and respect from the young guys, and they respect him. So it works perfectly.
Because on the other side, in that team, kind of like a little bit like, well, for City is different because the main attacking guy is the only guy where we feed him. But if you have so much talent packed in one team, how it don't matter how good you are as a human being. I'm not saying you can overcome the feeling, but there's always that feeling. Especially all of them are in their mid-20s, so they are eyeing Ballon d'Or. They are eyeing the best this, the best that, and you put all of these guys. Some people feel like, man, if I don't do this, I won't be. So why will I send the ball if I can score?
Yep. Yeah.
So because I want to be that guy.
Yeah.
So until if they can remove that feeling, so I feel like it will click. And also they have to. This kid too is playing though. This 16, 17 years Brazilian kid, man. He takes the one thing I like about him. His ball. He will take the ball, be in the middle of the just half and just shoot it.
Yeah.
He won't care.
Let me ask you a question really quick before we wrap this up about Mbappe.
Sir. Go ahead.
Do you try to take Mbappe's name out of this question? So I'm not even asking you about. I'm asking you a question about striker name redacted. His name's not Mbappe. 5 goals in 9 games. Is that that's still not terrible, is it?
No, actually,
we're acting like the sky's falling.
I think
you know what I mean.
I think it's because the name, like I
exactly,
said, it's just the polemic around it. Because
but so I'll add even more to that. 5 goals in 9 games. Your first season there. It's your first 9 games there, and it doesn't even matter if it's Madrid or like 5 goals in 9 games. First season, first 9 games for these guys. It's not that bad. I mean, whether or not in the quality on the pitch can make people feel that way. The numbers in that don't seem as bad, but I mean, I'm not saying that when you watch them, you're not going, oh, they've got a lot of improving to do, because they do, and you can see that. Yeah. But at the end of the day, through all of that, through all the newness that's going on, you're still second in the table, 5 goals in 9 games from the striker.
Actually, now that you put that in
bad,
perspective,
man.
I
that
think
said,
so.
Lewandowski has 10 in 9 games, but again, they're playing in a different style that accommodates an egoless fluidity movement of the ball.
So how many how many does Vinicius have? Because it depends. If in my attack, the person that gets more of the scoring,
Vinny has 4.
You see,
so 5 and 4. That's not too far away to be able to say you are number 1, you are number 2. They're still in this limbo of having to figure out how to work together.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So if I get more of the probability of scoring, of course I will have more than the person who done. So I think it's just because of the name and the expectation. We expect him to score 3 every games. That's the thing.
So Lewandowski has 10 so far. Rafinha has 5, and Yamal has 4. Because that's big numbers already, and that's heavy distribution of the ball.
They be smashing teams 5-0.
I know, but like you look at that and you're just like, that's insane.
Yeah, definitely. Same thing. If you put City's numbers, you will see the same thing. Well, City's struggling, but you will see this guy what's his name? Oh, man, how am I bad with these names? Just striker. He has like 14 or 15 already.
Yeah.
So
Holland.
He hadn't, So it just depends. I think the scariest thing that will shock the world is to see Madrid clicking. Yeah.
Hopefully they will. I don't say hopefully, isn't it? Because I don't really wish good or bad on them. I don't really care. But you do want to. If you love the game, you want to see players and clubs playing at the absolute best that's possible. Yeah, I think at least.
I want to see all that potential actually work. Yeah. So that's what I'm here for. And so hopefully we get to see that. Now with the internationals coming up, they get a break. So
settle in, calm down, play some video games, get a massage, have a nap,
something like that. I'm interested. I'm really interested to see how England does too for the nationals. Because there's so much potential, but I want to see what's going on with their new coach. Yeah. So that's another thing. I want to watch the US. I don't know if they're playing what they're playing, so we really want to watch them just because they have some guys in form now. So I want to see what they can do or accomplish.
Yep.
We're wrapping this up now. Like I said, if you don't want to follow us, go watch us at least. And if you don't want to see our faces,
the faces thing, that seems to be everybody's biggest issue, is looking at our faces.
Yeah, go on Spotify. You can just listen to us.
That's what they tell me anyway.
You don't have to, just listen, and go on all our social media account and subscribe to this this YouTube channel too. See you in probably 2 weeks or next week. I'm not sure yet because of the national break.
We keep it loose. Yeah. Keep it spicy. Keep it tight.
All right. See you guys, and we're leaving on. Beautiful. This was a good podcast.
I like hearing that. I never tire of hearing that.
All right. Bye.
Bye.